Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a PSA submission. So I'm not going to walk through the actual submission form, but I'm going to show you guys the cards that we're going to be submitting here to PSA this month. There's a $12.99 special going on. If you're a member of PSA, it's technically a Pokemon special, but once you get into the UI and you do the order form, you can submit any card game. So I have some Pokemon, I have some Lorcana, I have some One Piece card that I'm going to be submitting here. A lot of this is for my personal collection. A lot of this is going to be for resale. I'll kind of identify what's what, and then we'll go from there. So the first card that we're going to be submitting, we're waiting on 4 more of these to come in. They should be here today or tomorrow, and then that's when the submission will be sent off. In total, there will be 9 of the Brave Little Tailor Mickey Mouses that we're going to be submitting. This has quickly became, once I kind of got it, held it in my hand, one of my favorite cards within Lorcana thus far. I think that the Brave Little Tailor, I've mentioned it before, but this artwork to me is kind of just like the face of Lorcana. When I think of Lorcana, I think of the first chapter. I think of this particular art. I think it was criminal that like we had Artful Rogue in the first chapter and not in terms of an enchanted and not the Brave Little Tailor. But I digress because this does have the enchanted foil, and I think this card is one of the just the best cards that have came out within all of Lorcana thus far. The packaging in the D23 2024 boxes is immaculate. I was very, very happy, very pleased with how those cards came out. And then the art is just, I mean, this is just the best Brave Little Tailor art there is. I mean, obviously in terms of value, the trophy serialized version going to be worth a little bit more, and even the D23 2022 version that's the first edition stamp. Those cards, might have more provenance, but in my opinion, when it comes strictly to the art, this is the best version of that card. This has quickly become one of my favorite cards in Lorcana. And so there will be a total of 9 of those in this particular submission. The next cards are going to be the remainder of the D23 2024 box, with the exception of the Bruno. The Bruno in my box was the only card that really had any whitening. And so with these cards, I'm a pretty stringent pre-grader. I'm hoping to hit like 70 to 80% gem mint rate across the board for all of the cards included in the submission. Some it's going to be easier than others. Like, for example, those Brave Little Tailor Mickeys, they're all very, very clean. They would probably qualify for like a pristine 10 on the CGC side. Obviously, with PSA, you never know what you're going to get in terms of like the grader if they had a good mood or whatnot. But I'm expecting to get a gem mint grade on a lot of these. We have some promos here a little bit further in the stack. They're going to be really tough. But overall, I'm a pretty stringent pre-grader and should have a decent shot at a 10 for every card in the submission. We do have a Peter Pan error. It's the bracket error, so it's kind of, my camera isn't focused in on it, but there's an extra bracket on this card. So there is a corrected version of this Peter Pan. Obviously, I collect error cards, and so that's one that I want to get in a PSA 10 if possible. Next up, we have the Beast from Rise of the Floodborn. Nothing crazy there, just one that I want to get graded. We have an additional Cindy here, so obviously one of the staples of my collection. I've talked about this card relentlessly. So we have another Cindy going to PSA. Hopefully we can get a 10 on that one. This is one that I considered either just holding on to. I've never sold a raw enchanted. This is one that I did consider because some of these playable enchanteds just get so high. This one is just hard to grade, and it's a very good copy, and so I'm going to go ahead and get it graded. PSA 10s don't have a huge premium. I think the raw card's around 200. A PSA 10 is only like 300, and it's a pretty hard card to grade. There's not that many out there just because it's so playable. People put them in their decks, but we are going to go ahead and grade that one. We have Alice, Growing Girl from Rise of the Floodborn. We then have 2 of my additional favorite cards here, Stitch, Rockstar. I feel really good about one of these. I feel iffy about the other. We're going to go ahead and get them both graded. Hopefully we get 110 there. We have a Simba going, very clean copy of Simba. And then we get into some of our promos. So the promos actually grade pretty harshly overall. I have a lot of the promos. I've discussed that in the past. I was pretty strict on when I went through these, and I set a lot aside, and so hopefully we can do okay. But some of these promos have like sub 50% gem mint rates, so not going to be surprised if I get a lot of 9s here. But we're going to go ahead and take the shot. Like I said, I did do a decent job of, or what I thought was a decent job of pre-qualifying. You never know what's going to happen. But we have a Scrooge McDuck. We have 2 of the errata Hey Hey promo foil cards. We have, I believe, 4 of the Flot Sam and Jet Sam promos from the early registration for the DLC events. So we have 4 of those that are going. We have, I think, like 7-ish Buckies. I like the idea of getting this Bucky graded. His PSA 10 copy is getting a decent premium right now. He's got the kind of the lore of being the first ever errated card post-release due to gameplay. This little squirrel terrorized a lot of people, myself included, and so we're gonna get these graded. 7 of them going in the submission here today. We have Mickey Mouse Detective. We have 2 of him getting graded. We have a Goofy Musketeer from Gamescom 2023. We have 2 Spiel Essen Donald Duck Musketeers going. One of those, those are kind of like the Stitches, 50-50. Those are very hard to grade in general. One of the copies has like a speck of whitening in one of the corners. Like I said, I was pretty stringent on pre-grading on this order because it is 50 cards, so I really want to hit a high gem mint rate if possible. But so we have 2 of those going. We have the Mickey Mouse Gen Con 2023 Musketeer promo. We have the Gaston organized, or no, that's an event specific promo, but it's got the organized play promo logo on it. We have a discard. This card is very, very clean. A lot of the other discards that I have some whitening in the corners, and they're just not that clean. This one is very, very clean, so we're going to go ahead and submit it. Getting into some of the Pokemon stuff. So that's all of the Lorcana cards. The rest are going to be Pokemon and one piece card, like I mentioned. So we'll set those aside here. We have a Master Ball Rhydon from Japanese 151. Very cool card. Love 151. We have a Rainbow Charizard, V-Star Charizard that's going to be going. We have a Typhlosion, Hisuian Typhlosion V full art that's going to be going. And then we get into some vintage Pokemon here. So if you're familiar with Neo Destiny in Japan, whenever this set was released, they had these, I guess, called premium files or files, essentially little folders that had 9 cards in it. Essentially had the starter evolutions inside for this particular file. And they were very well packaged, very well secured. I opened this product probably like 2 months ago, and the cards that came out of it were immaculate. I couldn't believe it. And that's a shout out to Pokemon and shout out to the Pokemon company in Japan specifically. Their print quality has always been so good. Like this Rhydon, wherever it was, is like a perfect, like, I mean, I looked at this thing under a microscope, like it's flawless. It just looks so good. Their print quality on all of the new cards is like historically good. And then even these cards from back in the day, like we'll just pull one of these out. We'll pull out the Typhlosion. You got to think these cards were printed in 1997, 1998, and then they've been in like this file since then. And you talk about like with 0 whitening overall, the card just looks flawless. It's like perfectly well centered. The front looks immaculate. It's just a shout out to them. They do a really, really good job with their quality. Always have. You got to think this product is, this card was printed 25-ish years ago, and I just took it out of the packaging, a couple months ago, and it looks amazing. So shout out to the Pokemon company in Japan, holding it down with the print quality. Kudos to them. And those Neo files are an amazing product. The Japanese 151 with the Master Balls, amazing product. So many of the Japanese promos are amazing. That's my biggest gripe with Pokemon is that it is a Japanese owned company, and that market comes first, and we get the leftovers. We get poor print quality, and we don't get near as cool cards. But I digress on that. So we have those going. We have the Typhlosion line, Chikorita, and Feraligatr. The Feraligatr is the only one, in my opinion, that might not get a 10 because now, I mean, look, yeah, obviously any of them could get 9s, but this one is a little bit thin on the bottom. Now the front, it's fixed. There's nothing on the front, and typically the back you have some leniency there. In terms of like if you have a 60-40 split and it's on the back, you're usually okay. Like I said, this was the only card in there that I was like questioning to even send. And if I'm already sending the other 8, the chance at getting maybe like a sequential 9 Neo Destiny premium file would be pretty cool. So, gonna go ahead and send it. It's a little bit thin on the bottom, but overall, it's worth it to send it. Let's see here. We have quite a few Japanese in total going here with this order, and then the last one that we have going is the One Piece Monkey D. Luffy PSA promo that's going to be going for that we got from having a PSA subscription. And then this card raw is going for like 130. I think for a PSA 10 copy, it's going for over 200. The card itself is very clean, and this is one that I'll definitely be selling whenever I get it back. I really have I'm just not a One Piece fan. I have no connection to it, and so I'll. The card is cool. I will say. With that being said, I have no clue what's going on. I have no clue, but if you look at the actual card itself, like I mean that foil pattern is pretty sick. So I can get behind it. I get why people are collecting it, and people who resonate with the IP, like the waifu stuff and things like that, doesn't really, not my vibe. I don't really know what's going on there, but yeah. So that's the submission overall. Total, I think it's like 55 cards roughly. We will be also doing some like grade optimizations for some of our higher grade PSA vintage holos. We have like a first edition Dark Raichu, the first ever secret rare that was released in Pokemon, set number 83 out of 82. We have the first edition Dark Charizard holo PSA 9. Awesome card. It's got a little swirl. You can kind of see it up in the corner there where Charizard's looking. The card is amazing quality. It got a PSA 9. I've mentioned in my videos, I'm not going to go into it here. I think that grading high dollar amount vintage Pokemon with PSA right now is a bad move. I think you need to cross grade to either CGC or Beckett. I'm going to send both of these to Beckett because they are just very, very good quality. See what they come back with, and I'm going to send some others to CGC. I think PSA is just they are doing themselves a disservice by how harshly they're grading some of the vintage Pokemon. If you compare like this copy of this Dark Hypno versus the majority of the 10s, like this card is significantly more clean. But with that being said, they've kind of changed their standards there, which is fine. I personally think it's due to financial reasons and liability, which is kind of gross. But at the end of the day, who am I to judge? So we're going to be doing some cross grading there with some of the vintage Pokemon, but this video is more or less to talk about the submission that we have going out here. So with that being said, getting this out of there. Oh, dust ball. With that being said, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the submission side of things. Once we get it back, we will open it on camera. I never find out the pre-grades. It's like Christmas Day, right? This one's going to be insane because it's a over 50 card order. So it's going to be a lot of fun to open. So whenever we get it back, maybe end of October, early November, we will do a reveal and see how we did. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye, guys.